All right, yesterday we started to review and learn about like terms. And what we talked about was that when you have something like 3x squared y, that the 3 in that term is called the coefficient, and then we referred to the variable part of that term, which is x squared y, as being the last name. And we said that like terms are terms that have the exact same last name. So any term that is a like term for this one would have to have x squared y as its last name. So like terms, same last name. Now what we're going to do today is take that one step further, and we are going to start talking about combining like terms. The entire reason that we're having this discussion is because you can only add and subtract. You can only add and subtract like terms. Can only add and subtract like terms. So if they do not have the same last name, then you will not be able to do the problem. So let me show you a quick example of that. Here is a simple little math problem, 2x plus 3x. Now, you'll remember from yesterday that terms are connected by either addition or subtraction signs. So you'll notice here, I'm connected by addition, so there are two terms in this problem, 2x and 3x. Are they like terms? The answer is yes. And the reason they are like terms is because they have the same last name, x and x. So these are like terms. They have the same last name. So I can add these together. I can do what this problem says. So to do 2x plus 3x, we add 2 plus 3, which would be 5, and then we keep the same last name, x. So 2x plus 3x would be 5x. Okay? Here's a subtraction problem. 5a minus 2a. 5a minus 2a. So notice again here, there are two terms in this problem. Are they like terms? The answer is yes, because this one's last name is a, this one's last name is a. So I can combine these because they're like terms. So to combine these, I would do what it says. I would do 5 minus 2. 5 minus 2 is 3. And then I keep the same last name, so it would be a. So 5a minus 2a is 3a. This would be kind of like what you did in elementary school when you did things like 5 apples minus 2 apples. And when you do 5 apples minus 2 apples, you still have 3 apples. Now, let me look at one last one. Take a look at this addition problem, 2x plus 3y. All right, so this is an addition problem that they want me to do. So when I look at these two terms, and I realize now that that's in your way, so I'm going to move that up here where you can actually see it. Sorry about that. 2x plus 3y. So here's an addition problem that I want to do. Are these like terms? And the answer is no, because this one has a last name of x, while this one has a last name of y. So I can't combine these. I can't do this addition problem because I don't have like terms. So the answer for this would be 2x plus 3y. Not like terms, so I cannot combine. So this is what we're going to be working on today, combining like terms. All right, so let's go through some examples here. And in these examples, we are going to simplify by combining the like terms. All right. Now, you'll notice as I write this problem that I'm spreading it out quite a bit, and I'm going to show you why I'm doing that as I work it. So I'm doing 7p minus 1 minus 9p plus 5. So this problem has 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. I'm going to simplify it by combining the terms that are alike. So I'm going to always start at the front of my problem. My first term is 7p. I'm going to put 7p inside of a red box. He has a coefficient of 7, and he has a last name of p. So now what I'm going to do is look down the row, look down the rest of the problem, and see if anybody up here is a like term for him. Anybody who's a like term for him would have to have p as the last name. So this term doesn't have a last name. This term has p as the last name, and this one doesn't have a last name. So right here is a like term. Now I want you to watch what I'm about to do and listen very carefully. This is minus 9p. So that makes him negative 9p. So I am going to, when I put a box around 9p, include that minus sign that's in front of him because that belongs to him. It is 7p minus 1 minus 9p. So that minus belongs to him. Those two are like terms. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do what this says and I'm going to combine them. So again, watch and listen here. I am going to do what the signs tell me to do. So I'm going to do 7 minus 9. 7, now look where my pen is, 7 minus 9. So if I do 7 minus 9, I get negative 2. And then I keep the same last name. So I reattach the last name, which is p. So 7p minus 9p is negative 2p. Those two have been combined into a single term. All right, now I'm going to grab another color. So I'm going to use blue this time. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put a box around my second term. You'll notice that second term, since he is minus 1, is a negative 1. So negative 1. What is his last name? He doesn't have one. So is there anybody else in this problem that is like that doesn't have a last name? And the answer is yes, out here on the end. Now I want you to notice that this is plus 5. Plus 5. So when I put a box around him, I'm going to put a box around him including that plus sign because that belongs to him. So now I'm going to put these two together by doing what this says. This says to do a negative 1 plus 5. A negative 1 plus 5. Negative 1 plus 5 is positive 4. So I'm going to put plus because it's positive and then my 4. Kind of like we talked about with distributive earlier in the week. That if something is positive, put a plus in front of it, negative, put a minus. So 7p minus 9p is negative 2p, negative 1 plus 5 is 4. And I have simplified this thing because it had 4 terms, and now it only has 2. So combine the like terms. All right, let's look at this one. So I have 5x plus 7y minus x plus 2y plus 3x. So you'll notice that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms. I'm going to simplify this expression by combining the like terms. Now before I do that, I want to point out one quick thing here. This x in the middle of the problem doesn't have a coefficient. So I would suggest that you automatically go ahead and put that invisible 1 there. So you'll remember that and combine these correctly. All right, so I'm going to grab a colored pen. I'm going to start at the beginning. The very first term that I see here is 5x. 5x. He has a last name of x. So what I want to do right now is identify all of the other terms that have just an x as their last name. So right here's one, and you'll notice he is minus 1x. Minus 1x. So when I put a box around him, I'm going to get that minus with him. And then out here at the end is another term that has just an x. He is plus 3x. So when I put a box around him, I'm going to grab that plus with him. So I'm going to do now what I have boxed in red, and I'm going to do what it says. So listen to me carefully. I'm going to do 5 minus 1 plus 3. So 5 minus 1 would be 4, and then 4 plus 3 would be 7. So 5 minus 1 plus 3 is 7, and then I keep the same last name. Those were all x's, so I keep that last name of x. So all of those 3 terms that I put red boxes around become the one term, 7x. All right, now grab another color and come back to the beginning of the problem. Here is the first term that doesn't have a box around it, and I want you to notice that he is plus 7y. So positive 7y. So I am going to put a box around him in blue. I'm using a different color because it's a different last name. So plus 7y. Does anybody else have that same last name of just y? Well, this guy does. And I want you to notice he is plus 2y. So I'm going to put a blue box around him as well, and I'm going to combine these two. And I'm going to do what it says. So it says to do a positive 7 plus 2. A positive 7 plus 2. I'm only looking at what's in those blue boxes to tell me what to do. So a positive 7 plus 2. That is a positive 9. So I'm going to put a plus because it's positive, and then my 9. And then don't forget to reattach the last name. Keep the same last name. So when I combine the x's, I get 7x. When I combine the y's, I get 9y. So 7x plus 9y is my simplified answer. And you can see why they call this simplifying, because the answer is so much shorter than it was to begin with. All right, next up. Okay, so taking a look at this problem, we have 8x squared minus x minus 5x plus 7 minus 2x squared. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms. You'll notice that the second term is not showing his coefficient right here. So if I were you, I would go in and put that invisible 1. Now, I'm going to grab red, and I'm going to start at the beginning, and I'm going to put a box around that first term, 8x squared. I want you to notice that his last name is x squared. So I am looking for any other terms up here that have that exact same last name of x squared. And I see one out here on the end that does. Now I want you to notice he is minus 2x squared. Minus 2x squared. So when I put a box around him, I'm going to put a box around that minus as well. And now I am going to focus all of my attention on those red boxes and do what it says. It says to do 8 minus 2. 8 minus 2. I'm not looking at anything else but those red boxes. 8 minus 2 is 6. And what was the last name? x squared, so I reattach that last name. I never change last names when I'm combining like terms. All right, so on to another color for different terms. I'm going to come back up here where my next term is that isn't boxed up. And I want you to notice that this one is a minus 1x. Minus 1x. So when I put my box, I'm going to put that minus in there with him, so he is a negative 1x. That minus makes him negative. Now, his last name is just x, so does anybody else have that? Right here. And I want you to notice that it is minus 5x. So when you box it, box minus 5x. And now I'm going to focus all of my attention on those blue boxes, and I'm going to do what it says. It says to do a negative 1 minus 5. A negative 1 minus 5. That is a negative 6. So I'm going to put minus 6 because it's negative. And then what was the last name? The last name was x. Now you'll notice there's only one term up here now that has not been boxed up. And that term is this plus 7. He doesn't have a last name, and you'll notice that there is nobody like him. So what we will do is just bring him down, bring that plus 7 down, and put him in the answer. So 6x squared minus 6x plus 7 would be the final answer for this problem. So when you're writing these problems on your paper to do them, I would suggest that you do what I'm doing here as I write the examples on this board. I would suggest that you space things out so that you have plenty of room to work. So on this one, we have a to the second power plus 7ab minus 10ab plus b squared. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 terms up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll notice the first one is missing a coefficient. I can put a 1 there. The last one is also missing his coefficient, so I can put a 1 there. All right, I'm going to grab my first color, and I'm going to go to the front of the problem, and I'm going to take my first term, 1a to the second. Last name is a to the second power. Does anybody else up here have that same last name? And the answer is no. So nobody is going to combine with 1a squared. So we're just going to bring it down and put it in our answer. All right, I'm going to take another color, and I'm going to go to term number 2. Now I want you to notice that he is plus 7ab. So plus 7ab. So I'm going to put him in a box. His last name is AB. Does anybody else have that? Well, yeah, right here. And I want you to notice that he is minus 10ab. Minus 10ab. So these two terms are going to combine. And I'm going to look at the blue boxes only to decide what to do. This says to do a positive 7 minus 10. A positive 7 minus 10. 7 minus 10 is negative 3. Negative 3. So I'm going to put minus 3. Well, what was the last name? AB. So I reattach that last name. Now time to finish this off. Our last term up here is plus 1b to the second. You will notice that he has a last name of b to the second. Nobody else has that. So we're not combining him with anything. We'll just bring him down and put him in our answer. So a to the second minus 3ab plus b squared would be our final answer on that problem. Just about ran out of room on that one. All right, and I kind of did because that last term is covered up. Tell you what we'll do, we'll just remove him. Okay. So 4x squared minus 7 plus 2x minus 3x squared plus 8x. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms. Start at the beginning. I'm going to put 4x squared in a red box. Last name is x squared. Does anybody else have that? Right here. And notice he is minus 3x squared. So make sure you grab that minus and put it in there with him. All of your attention on those red boxes. What is that telling you to do? It's telling you to do 4 minus 3. 4 minus 3, which you know is 1. So that would be 1 with a last name of x squared. Do not change the last name when you combine those like terms. All right, grab another color and go to the first term in your problem that doesn't have a box. It is minus 7. Minus 7. Now you'll notice he doesn't have a last name. He doesn't have a last name. Nobody else up here is like that. So that means that he is not going to combine with anyone, so you'll just bring down minus 7. Grab another color. Our next term is plus 2x. So I'll put a box around that. It has a last name of x. So does this one, which is plus 8x. So again, focus all of your attention on those green boxes and let's do what it says. It says to do a positive 2 plus 8. A positive 2 plus 8, which is 10, positive 10. So we're going to put plus because it's positive and then our 10. And the last name was x, so we reattach that. So x squared minus 7 plus 10x. Now, hopefully that all makes sense. If it doesn't, you know what to do. You know you need to email me and let me know. Before I end this video, though, I want to show you how you're going to do today's assignment so you'll kind of be ready for this. When you open today's assignment, you will notice that these problems, like I've been writing on the board, have been written so that these terms are already in boxes. And you are going to put like colored squares around your like terms, just like I was drawing in those examples that I just did. So here's your first problem. You're going to do 5x minus 2x plus 6x plus 40 minus 9 plus 1 minus x plus 3x minus 8 plus 15x plus 7. Now that's a lot. But here's what you'll do. I would start with my red and you'll drag and drop a square around 5x. Last name is x. So you will continue to put red squares around anything that has a last name of x. So the minus 2x will get a red square. The plus 6x will get a red square. The minus 1x, notice that would have a 1 in front of it. The plus 3x and the plus 15x will all get red squares. And then you'll look at those red squares and do what it says. So you'll do 5 minus 2, which is 3. Plus 6 would make 9. Minus 1 would make 8. Plus 3 would make 11. Plus 15 would make 26. Now you could also grab your calculator and type in 5 minus 2 plus 6 minus 1 plus 3 plus 15. But you'll click down here where it says answer and you'll type in 26 and put that last name of x. So 26x is what you get for that. All right, now you'll go to a different color. So you have plus 40, which has no last name. So everybody who doesn't have a last name will get a green box. So you'll have minus 9, plus 1, minus 8, plus 7. So now you'll focus on the green box and type in what it says in your calculator. So we are going to do 40 minus 9 plus 1 minus 8 plus 7. And that gives you 31, and it is a positive 31. So you'll go back down here and type in plus 31. Oh, shoot, 31. And there's your answer for the first one, and you'll go on and do the rest. So I want to see these colored squares move to the like terms and then combine them just like we talked about. Let the signs in the problem tell you what to do. If you have any questions at all, please contact me. We can set up a Zoom call so I can work with you one-on-one on this. But this is an important skill. Make sure you understand it. All right, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.